All right, here we go. Hold my banner, NBA Finals edition. We are finally here. Yes, Travis Thomas here with my main man, the walking, talking triple-double, Ante Campbell, producer extraordinaire, balled out at Fresno State, balled out at UTEP. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, 2Ts, but look, I'm upset.
Why?
Because there's no NBA, no WNBA, no NHL, no Sox,
I know,
no Dodgers today.
I know.
I'm going to be bored tonight, bro. I don't know what I'm finna do.
I know.
So I'm going to have to go do some karaoke or something tonight to entertain myself.
Karaoke. What's your go-to karaoke song? I've been known to shut down a couple karaoke bars with Purple Rain, my friend. I do Purple Rain.
Okay.
I build it up, start slow.
Yeah.
Then you get all crazy like Prince did at the end. May even have a couple moves there on the dance floor. Purple Rain's my go-to. What's yours?
Look, I'm a crowd. I play for the crowd. I'm here to be a crowd favorite. But if I'm back at home with the family, it's My Boo by Usher and Alicia Keys every time. Every time.
Isn't that a duet?
Yeah, and I need one of my cousins. All of my cousins used to sing and dance, so one of them can actually sing well, unlike myself. So I get one of them, and we just, now the whole family singing. So
it started when we were younger, you were my boo.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going with, Travis.
I love it, Tay. Well, good luck at karaoke, man. I will not be singing that with you, okay? Just so we know. I'll do Purple Rain. You do that.
Yep.
All right, we'll bring Ante back. I'm sure he's going to have a game that I'm going to be terrible at, but it's always great entertainment here on Hold My Banner. But I want to start here because I've had so much time to think about these NBA Finals, and it's usually dangerous when you give me time to think about anything. But I've actually been thinking about how the Celtics and how the Mavs, whoever wins this title, how they'll sort of measure up against past champions, right? I mean, we spent so much time breaking these teams down. I haven't really talked big picture, like where will they rank, what's at stake for the winner, what's at stake for the loser. So let's examine both. So the Celtics, obviously, will start there. I think they have a real chance here to capture the all-time moment. Here's what I mean. I don't believe they'll be looked at as some GOAT championship team, but I do think they are what we all love, that all-American story of getting knocked down over and over again and getting back up and going after it again. Dusting yourself off, not quitting, staying the course. Now, they made some changes to the lineup along the way. We understand that. But that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get back up, sort of revamp, get a new plan, and attack again. That's what the Celtics have done. We've seen them, Eastern Conference Finals. We've seen them lose all the above. We've seen particularly Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown be drafted here. We've seen the bumps and the bruises as young players just trying to find their way. We've seen them mature. We've seen, Tatum has a whole family now. We've seen all this stuff with these guys. Blood, sweat, tears, and years. We've seen it all, and we've seen them lose. So a win now, that culmination of that moment, that confetti, we'll see that raw emotion. What do we say about this team? Well, they're kind of quiet, a little bit boring. Yeah, Jaylen Brown doesn't talk much. Jason Tatum, kind of just political. He says all the right things. Great, but if they win this title, you're going to get emotion. I guarantee it. You're probably going to get a lot of tears, rightfully so. Now, what about the Mavericks? Look, we know what it is for them. You already have two all-time players, Kyrie and Luka. So naturally, if they win the title, it's not so much about it's about those two. No one's going to be talking about P.J. Washington or Lively or Daniel Gafford or any of those dudes. It's going to be about Kyrie and Luka all time, and we know that. And so a title for them individually elevates them to real greatness, rarefied air. Now you have them both in different conversations. Kyrie, we already understand, is a champion and has one of the most clutch shots of all time in finals history already on his resume. So if he can do it again here, I mean, you're in a different stratosphere all time in basketball lure. And then same thing with Luka. I mean, we've seen Luka on a big stage, Western Conference Finals, a few times now, but we haven't seen him on this stage. So if the Mavericks win, clearly that's where they're at. Now, granted, again, whoever wins this, I don't think is going to be considered some GOAT team all time. But there's still a lot at stake for the winner. But when you think about weak champions, at least in recent memory, yeah, you won the championship, but it's like, well, you think Lakers bubble. It's like, well, it was the bubble. It's a championship still, but it kind of diminishes it. I was thinking just in recent memory. Off the top of my head, the first team that came to mind was the '04 Pistons. Remember that team? Tough as nails, tougher than a $2 steak. They played great defense. They were well coached by Larry Brown, but wasn't the most dynamic offensive team you've ever seen. They really only had a couple guys, a Rip Hamilton, a Chauncey, that could really put the ball in the basket. Rasheed Wallace was a tough guy, but he's not averaging 30 on you in a series. Ben Wallace barely even scored. He was defense and rebound, hustle, heart and soul. So that team, not dynamic offensively, but certainly a tough team. And remember, thing about that team is they muscled, literally, they muscled their way to a title. They beat Kobe and Shaq in one of the really probably all-time upsets in NBA Finals, if you think about it. But no one thought that was some great team. No one. I mean, they got it done. You got to give them props. But they weren't flashy. They weren't dynamic. They didn't have anything that really stood out and made them great. Same with Dirk's Mavs. Same thing. An exciting team, but all the accolades really went to Dirk. No one talks about that team all the time. Here's another one. How about the 2019 Raptors? Remember that with Kawhi? Now, that team needed a miracle shot from Kawhi, who had an all-time great NBA Finals run. But again, that's an individual player. We talk about Kawhi Leonard's individual run during that championship run with the Raptors. No one talks about that team like some great team. They needed a miracle shot from Kawhi to even get to the finals. And oh, by the way, then they played the mighty Warriors, who became a walking MASH unit. No one remembers that. I do. Kevin Durant, out. Klay Thompson, out. And the Raptors, give them credit, they were able to get it done. I'm not taking anything away from these champions. Once you're a champion, you live forever, right? But there are levels to champions. We can acknowledge that, right? So you go back and you look at all those great Showtime Lakers that won rings. How about all the great Celtics teams from here, from Bill Russell to Larry Bird? Great teams, GOAT conversations, all-time teams. The Warriors, the Heatles. These are great teams. So you can look at two sides of that coin, right? You can look at the weaker champions as well. Ironically speaking, I think the Mavericks kind of remind me of that '04 Pistons team. Again, well coached. Jason Kidd's doing a great job. They don't play consistent defense like that Pistons team did, but right now they are. I mean, all playoffs long, we've seen Luka play defense. I remember thinking early in the postseason against the Clippers, oh my gosh, Luka's actually playing defense now. Boy, this team's dangerous. He did it against the Thunder as well. Got banged up a little bit. Playing defense. Go figure. That's what happens, Luka. So the Mavs kind of remind me of them. They're playing lights out defense right now. They're well coached, just like Larry Brown with the Pistons. Jason Kidd is doing a tremendous job. And just like that Pistons team was beholden to Chauncey and Rip, and then some timely shots from Tayshaun Prince and Sheed Wallace and others, this Mavs team is beholden offensively to Kyrie and Luka. Very similar. Now, as I try to compare this Boston team to either great champions or weak champions, no, it's not really the Raptors with Kawhi. You know who it is? It's more so the Warriors. Think about it. This team lives and dies by the three-point shot, just like the Warriors. although not as prolific as the Warriors from that, but that's their style. They want to run and gun and shoot from three. Okay, cool, no problem. Check, check, check. But there is something missing. I think it's a killer instinct because you think about the Warriors teams, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson would absolutely bury you. I mean, they were assassins, both of them. Splash Brothers. For my lifetime, that is the best backcourt I've ever seen. I know there's a lot of talk about Kyrie and Luka. No. For my money, I'll take Steph and Klay in their prime. Steph, I think, is on the back nine of his prime. Klay's out of it now. But in their primes, I think that's the best backcourt I've ever seen. But both of them, stone cold assassins. Close out games, they're going to bury you. Games tied late, they're going to bury you. And you knew it was coming, and you ran, and you played defense, and you got a hand up, and it didn't matter. They buried you. Don't even get me started on Draymond Green. American Psycho, Draymond Green. The Celtics, I'm not sure, have any of the above. Who's the goon? Who's the tough guy? Drew Holiday? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, who's the assassin on this team? Jaylen Brown? I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Even individually, players only. There are certain players that can take that leap to legendary status. Let's start with Jaylen Brown, who I just mentioned. I think he's the closer. I think he's the assassin on the team, right? He's the killer. Well, we've seen him ball out in NBA Finals, but in a losing effort. Not blaming him, just saying the facts. So I think now Jaylen Brown needs to do that again in these finals, but with a winning effort this time, on the winning side. And I believe the Celtics will, as I've said many times here. I'm taking the Celtics in 6. But how about this? Jason Tatum just needs a big series period, doesn't he? Boy, doesn't he need a great NBA Finals to just quell all the noise, put it all to bed. We think he's a great player, but he does shrink in moments. He does disappear in big moments. Boy, wouldn't a great Finals from Jason Tatum and a Celtics championship win change all of that? One title. Not saying he can't get more. Not saying Jaylen Brown can't get more. Not saying the Celtics core can't get more, but you got to get one to put all the nonsense to bed. Kyrie, again, already in a lot of ways, I think Kyrie's legacy is set right now, win or loss in this finals. Now, if he loses, it's set because we've already seen him on the big stage with LeBron, get it done, hit clutch shots, make it happen. But if he wins, it does elevate his legacy a bit because he did it without LeBron, just like Shaq without Kobe and vice versa, Kobe without Shaq. Sometimes you got to win them without your running mate. LeBron without D-Wade, we saw this happen too. If Kyrie can get one without LeBron, it elevates his legacy. But I do think his legacy, for the most part, is already set. Luka is the biggest wild card here. So Tatum, Brown, we've seen you in the finals and you lost. If you lose again now, we're talking like, maybe they just can't get it done. But at least they've been, right? Kyrie, already proven he can get it done. If he wins, it just elevates him. If he loses, you say, okay, hey, at least he got there. And we've seen him get it done before. Luka's the most interesting one to me because we've seen him in Western Conference Finals. We've seen him will his team there. We've seen him be the guy, but he hasn't had help. Now he has Kyrie. So I'm wondering now how Luka performs on this stage because we haven't seen him here before. Western Conference Finals is great, but we haven't seen him on the NBA Finals. Intensity ups, defense ups the ante, everything goes up a notch. I'm very curious to see how Luka sort of deals with that when everything ratchets up a bit. And then, of course, the role players, we already know. Obviously, a Derek White, a Drew Holiday, a Kristaps Porzingis. Hell, I know I made fun of him earlier, but a PJ Washington. I mean, these are guys that can literally live forever in basketball lore, legendary status for clutch shots, big performances, big moments where they take over, they capture it. you can live forever as a role player, depending how you play in these finals. So I think about that. What's at stake for the franchises that win or lose it? What's at stake for the players that win or lose it? And look, even from a losing perspective, I think it's devastating for the Celtics. I'm not so sure it's as devastating for the Mavericks. Think about this. I think the Mavs, if they're being honest with themselves, really already know this is probably short-lived. Kyrie and Luka. I still remember when they acquired Kyrie. I was on the radio at the time, and I said, look, I don't love it because Kyrie at that time had the reputation for just being like a team killer. Everywhere he went, it was a mess. And if you're Dallas, you have to be willing to kind of roll the dice a little bit because you've already squandered as a franchise an all-time great talent in Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, they squandered that. They could never build around him, ever. And even though they got the one title, and even though I put them in a weak champion category, respectfully, Dirk was such a great player and played. We saw what he did in the finals a few times. I mean, he played at such a high level. I just feel like he should have had more than one ring. And I feel like the Mavericks let Dirk down. I don't look at Dirk only having one ring as a Dirk problem. I look at Dirk only having one ring as a Mavericks failing to build around him. So I say that to say they rolled the dice with Kyrie Irving, and it was smart. Bring him in, see if it works with Luka. If not, keep rolling the dice. We got to figure something out because if we don't, Luka's going to walk right out of our lives and go to some other team. Dirk was probably loyal to the Mavericks. This is 2024 and beyond. Ain't nobody loyal to anybody. So I wouldn't be shocked if they never rolled the dice with Kyrie, if Luka just bailed and was like, I'm going to play somewhere else. So you have to roll the dice. They did, and it just so happens to work. I didn't think personalities would work between Kyrie and Luka. I said it at the time on the radio. I said, I don't think this is going to work, but I respect what the Mavericks are doing. You kind of have to. Well, hell, it has worked. Personalities-wise, on the court-wise, it's all worked out between the two of them. I'm a little surprised, but I also will acknowledge, and I believe the Mavericks would off the record, that they probably don't think this is going to be some 10-year thing between these two. Kyrie's flaky, can't really trust him, although he has matured. I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket if I were the Mavericks, and I'm sure they won't. So if they lose, hey, run it back, try to add another scorer. This is our window now. It's probably not going to be open long. If the Celtics lose, now you're having the conversations of, is this going to work? Does this work? Do you need to move off of this guy or that guy? Whose team is all that resurfaces over again? My gut is they'll run it back, and they should. They should run it back. But what about the mentals that start to creep in to the team? Can we get it done? Now it's not about us asking a question. Do these players start asking themselves? Man, I mean, all the Eastern Conference finals, all these finals, maybe we just can't get it done. You know who it reminds me of a little bit on the college ranks? Gonzaga. Mark Few and Gonzaga. How many G-damn great teams, talent-wise, has Gonzaga had? And they don't have anything to show for it. They don't have a hill of beans. I mean, so many great teams. The championship team that went to the title lost to Baylor. I said at the time, this is your chance, Gonzaga. You don't win this, you're never going to win it. Then look up, a couple years later, they have Chet Holmgren and the super talented team. And you're like, okay, all right, this is the team now. Not that team that lost to Baylor was talented, but this Chet Holmgren team, my God. Sweet 16. L. I mean, at some point now with NIL, transfer portal, who's going to Spokane, bruh? Mark Few, he's had his chance. I don't think Gonzaga ever wins it. I think the Celtics are in danger if they don't win this title, which I believe they will. But if I'm wrong, and Luka plays out of his mind, and Kyrie's clutch in the finals like he is, and Tatum comes up small or whatever the case, Porzingis isn't healthy, whatever the excuse is, if the Celtics lose this finals, they're likely going to run it back. But is it not a fair question to ask? Is it in the players' minds that maybe we can't get this done? This is their best shot right now. This is it. You're not dealing with the Nuggets, a team that knows how to win the title. Jokic, a player that's unstoppable. You're dealing with a young Mavericks team that's never been here. Now, you got a guy in Kyrie who knows how to get it done, but you have your own issues with Kyrie as a franchise. So you're going to have to figure out a way to neutralize him. You're dealing with Luka, who's on a whole nother level, whole nother planet, talent-wise. But you're going to have to figure that out too. They're really a two-headed monster. So you can't let P.J. Washington and these other guys beat you. I think the Celtics don't have any excuses here, because if they lose it, oh boy, the Celtic green sky will be falling. Just saying. I think it's now or never for the Celtics. Now, my gut, again, I've already said it on wax several times, Celtics in 6. I believe for everything I just laid out, it's just a two-headed monster there in Dallas. It's just a two-headed monster. This Celtics team is just that, collective, a team. Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Holiday, Derek White, Horford. This is a team. And Joe Mazzulla, say what you want, and I've been critical, but he has a pulse of his team. They play hard for him. I believe he has them believing they can win this title. The time is now. The excuses are over. They may not be GOATs for championship teams, but they won't be the weakest either if they get this done. All right. There we go. Let's bring them back in. Ante Campbell here. We're going to play a game. I have no idea, and I'm sure I'll be horrendous at it. But, Tay, you always break down what you think of my opening rant there. I went through some – I know we're going to do this later in the show, too. I went through some great teams, some bad teams, championship teams of all time. What'd you make of my rant?
Yeah, I like the rant. I don't like how you ended it.
Oh, here we go.
Bro, it's just saying that the Mavericks aren't a team, they're a two-headed monster. It's just disrespectful to the team that they've created around them. Now, if you would have said this to me in November, I could have said, yeah. But what they've done after the trade deadline, going getting Gafford, going getting P.J. Washington, and really focusing on the things that they were terrible at before the trade deadline, they were horrendous defensive team.
Yes.
They're awful.
Yes.
Now we've seen they're going out there and they're punking teams.
Yeah, they are.
So they knew who they were, what their identity was, and they made a team based on their situation. So I would say, yes, November, not a team. Now, as we sit here in June, this is a real team that picks each other up. When Kyrie's not playing well, Luka picks him up. When neither of those guys play well, P.J. Washington picks him up. You know what I'm saying? They have other guys that can fill up the scoring sheet, can play basketball, can do a lot of things besides just play defense. They can do it all. So I wouldn't say that they're not a team. The Celtics clearly are one, and the Mavericks are even better than what you've just given them credit for. You were just disrespectful. But all right, it's time to play the game.
All right.
So we got win in 7 this time. So, of course, you get 7 questions as a whole to ask until you find the NBA player that I'm thinking of. On the 7th question, you'll get a silhouette.
Which means nothing.
And then you'll get a final guess after you get the silhouette. So you got 7 opportunities to ask some questions here. And then you get a silhouette, which, says means nothing to you. But maybe one day it does, man.
No, it means nothing. Unless it's Dr. J
If I got Jimmy Butler coming in here with the braids hanging down to his ankles, then you're going to be like, well, there you go. That's
what is
Jimmy
it, the
Butler.
braids? Or it could be emo Jimmy, too, I guess. But unless it's something in that silhouette that clearly tells me who it is, those never help me. All right, so my first question.
Yep.
Is this a current NBA player or a past NBA player?
This is a past NBA player.
Okay, so we're going past here. All right. Is this player a Hall of Famer?
This player is a Hall of Famer.
Okay. All right. Did this player play for multiple teams or one team?
Multiple teams.
All right, you got to keep track of how many questions.
That was question number 3.
All
I'm
right,
good.
I was about to say, I
You
feel
got
like I'm gonna
4
rattle
more.
them off. All right, his last team he played for,
Yes.
was it Eastern or Western Conference?
I believe it was Western Conference, but I will double check that right now.
Okay, Western Conference was his last team. So naturally, in my head, I'm thinking of all the great Western teams, like
Excuse me.
excuse
me.
Oh,
last
East.
team was Eastern. There you
Okay,
go.
I was gonna go through Lakers and Spurs here. All right, so his last team was East, which is who the hell knows. All right, let's go. What position did this player play?
Point guard.
Oh,
So you have 2 questions left. That was
Hall of
question number
Famer,
5.
point guard in the East. I'd like to solve the puzzle.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas, Pistons.
That is incorrect.
Oh man, Gadzooks.
So you got one
No,
more.
I have 2 questions.
No. You got
'cause
one.
I solved.
No, solve is a
I went to
question.
solve.
Solve is a question.
All right. I got
One
more.
left,
All right,
and
I
then
got
we'll
one
show
more.
you this silhouette.
All right. Hall of Famer in the East, not Isaiah. Point guard. All right. What did this player average? Give me like some stat lines.
Okay, I can give you
Points,
a stat
assists,
line.
whatever. Just give me
Over
something.
his career,
Yeah.
he averaged 12.6 points a game,
Okay.
6.3 rebounds,
All right.
8.7 assists.
Boy, this feels like Rajon Rondo a little bit. Can I get the silhouette?
All right, let's see that silhouette.
Oh, this does nothing. I hate the silhouette.
Come on, Travis, man. You got to
right.
win. You haven't lost yet.
Yeah, I'm about to catch an L, though, because that doesn't look like Rondo.
No, it's not Rondo.
It's not Rondo.
No.
Oh, my God. All right,
can
who
give you
is
that
it?
one.
I'm going to be so mad.
All right, let's show it off. Who is it?
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that, actually.
Jason Kidd.
I would
Jason
not have
Kidd.
guessed that.
So, of course, Jason Kidd, we got to show him off some of his stats. 1-time NBA champion as a coach, 1 time as a player, as assistant coach with the Lakers. Some people forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive Team. Of course, part of the NBA Top 75 team.
Yeah.
And second all-time in steals and assists.
He was absolutely electrifying. You know who my favorite players were growing up, Ante? It was Magic Johnson when I was a little kid. Because, by like late 80s, early 90s, when I was really starting to like get into sports,
Yep.
he was toward the back end. But at the same time, like I obviously saw all his clips. My parents told me all the stories, and I did get a chance to watch him play. So Magic was my favorite. And then really, once I was like all in sports,
Yep.
like kind of young, preteen, and then teenager, Jason Kidd was just killing it. I watched him at Cal as well.
Yep.
Jason Kidd became my favorite player growing up. He was very similar to Magic, and that's why I think I took to him. Just a true point guard, pass first guy. Later in his career, he developed a little bit of a jumper, but early on, he was really he would run the break like nobody's business. He was also not as big as Magic, but he was a big guard as well. Jason Kidd was awesome, man. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have guessed that, actually.
I have a
I don't know.
question.
He was the last player on my mind. Maybe it's because I'm seeing him too much as a coach.
Yeah, I have a question, though.
All right.
Will he be better as a coach or as a player?
No, player. That ship has sailed. Look, he could win this title right now, and unless he goes on some sort of Phil Jackson like run here, he was. I mean, you just gave the accolades. He's one of the top 75 players of all time.
Right.
I don't think he's going to be able to do that. But what I do believe is he can be in rarefied air. It's very rare when you get a great player and a great coach.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I feel as though he already in a way is there. He just needs a ring to solidify it.
Okay. I
I hate the silhouette though. You just got to know the silhouette. The silhouette does absolutely nothing for me. For all the latest on the Patriots, check out Foxborough Rush. Check out the full episode on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts for all of our best content. All right, now I started the show by saying if the Celtics win, They won't be some GOAT of a championship team, but they also won't be the weakest either. And then I went through some of the weaker title teams that I remember.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the strongest championship teams, at least in recent memory. Now, you provided me with this. I'm going to look down at this. With all the champions since, I believe this is since 2000. Is that right, Tay?
That's correct.
All right. So let's just rattle off a couple. Now, I'm going to obviously – I almost have to lead, I think, with the Warriors.
Yep.
Because remember, like, the Heatles had more hype to them. And look, prime LeBron, D-Wade was, getting towards the back end of his prime, but he still had a lot left in that tank. And obviously Bosh, kind of changed his role. The Heatles were great, but there was nothing like Golden State when they were humming. And once they got Kevin Durant there, forget it. I think, if we're talking recent championships, I have to go that Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant was just about as unbeatable as you're going to get in terms of recent champions.
Yeah, so I would agree. I got that 2017 Warriors team as one. That's my first, probably one of the best teams of all time, if not the best team of all time. After that, I go all the way back to 2001, man. That Lakers team that went 16-1, only losing one game throughout the whole playoffs.
That's right.
They were special, tough to beat, tough out. I don't even know if it was tough for me because I really do think they could have a really good chance against that 2017 Warriors team.
Yep.
Just because Shaq and Kobe, I don't think there's anybody who could have guarded those two dudes on the planet.
No doubt.
That exists. And then after that, I got to go 2012, like you said, Heatles, Heatles NBA championship team.
Yep.
Look, the Miami Heat that year after they lost to the Dallas Mavericks, when they came back and they decided we are not shooting the three ball, and LeBron and D-Wade just went and dunked on everybody and their mama. That was probably one of the times I remember being afraid to play. Like, if I would have to face a team, I would have been afraid to play LeBron and D-Wade during that time. Like, they would have made me shake in my boots. No question about that.
Are we not giving enough love to those Spurs team? Because I got to be honest with you. They were boring as hell. And I get it. Like, Tim Duncan was unbelievable. Tony Parker, Ginobili, the whole deal. But I just, for the life of me, I look at them more as like a moment in time.
Right.
I don't really feel like those were the greatest championship teams I've ever seen. I just thought, in a way, it's what the Celtics are doing now in terms of they had everyone under contract. No one had the ego bigger than the team kind of thing. Pop kept those guys in line for the most part. They were just quiet and went about their business. The Celtics have all their core under contract. Missoula has them believing in each other, and they're kind of boring, quite frankly. And so now, obviously, we'll see if the results are the same. But, those Spurs teams, I don't feel like were some great all-time teams. Or am I being disrespectful?
No, they definitely were. I just think that 2014 team, just caught a lazy Miami Heat team. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's something to be said. Like, they were special. They would probably be fourth on my list, honestly.
Okay.
Like, they would probably be right there, that 2014 team. But also, we have to remember the year before, they should have. Like, everybody in Miami was walking out the door before Ray Allen hit that shot in the corner to extend the series and then, obviously go to 7. So they really should have had 2 championships, and then I think we would have looked at them differently.
Sure.
But they let one slip with that Miami team. So I got to give them the 4th spot behind that 2012 team.
All right. Now, let's go to the weakest teams because, listen, I already mentioned a couple of them off the top there. 04 Pistons, which I said remind me of these current Mavs. Tough defense, well coached, and then just a couple guys that can really score. That's what I see from this Mavericks team. 19 Raptors. I talked about Kawhi needing a miracle to even get there. And then when they got there, if the Warriors were at full strength, they would have got slaughtered, and the Raptors know that.
Facts.
But, Durant's hurt. Clay's hurt. So, hey, kudos to them. They got the job done, but I don't look at that as some great championship team. I also mentioned the bubble Lakers as well, the 20 Lakers that beat the Heat in 6 games. But, what do you make of me picking on those teams? Do you agree? And who do you have for weakest? Because for me, those are my 3 weakest right there.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely in my 3. I can't lie. That I have 2019 Raptors as 1.
Okay.
2020 Lakers as 2, and then 2004 Pistons as 3.
Okay.
I think I was flirting with the conversation. Boston fans, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Okay, I'm flirting with the conversation with 2008 Celtics in this bottom 3.
What?
Yeah. A lot of dynasties that we've had. We had a Warriors dynasty. We had the Heat winning championships. We had the Lakers winning championships, and we had the Spurs winning championships. That pretty much ran the entire century. So you can't be mad at me when the Lakers and the Spurs have 10 all by themselves. 10 just by themselves. Okay, so I flirted with the conversation. All right, but let's be realistic. That Celtics team was really, really good. They had an opportunity to win a second championship against that Kobe Lakers team, where they took them to 7 and obviously didn't get that opportunity to win that game.
Right.
But, yes, the Pistons, dude, I mean, just hold on. Before we go on, can we look at this? Rasheed Wallace says he believes the 2004 Pistons would have dominated the 2017 Warriors.
He a damn lie.
And then Draymond responded to him on Twitter saying, "Sheed, we would have smacked y'all.
Yes.
Y'all was scoring 72 points per game.
Yes.
That's not winning a half. And we putting you in them big ass forces in every pick and roll. Let's see you move them feet. That one ring was great, though, big bro. We all appreciate it.
I mean, I hate agreeing with Draymond, but he's absolutely right.
So, yeah, bro, that team, we all appreciated what they did. Like you said, they were hard-nosed.
Yes.
Just that tough, American spirit of coming from the ground and picking you up by your bootstraps and stuff like that. Yeah, they were that team, but they had no stars, really. You know what I'm saying? They were just a team full of misfits, and they made it work. That's the Detroit way to win basketball championships.
No doubt.
As far as we talk about teams since 2000 on, that team is just not very good. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. All right. Now, I want to talk Caitlin Clark with you because every time I look up, she is just getting pummeled to the ground, bro. Mm-hmm. And then I see that the WNBA fined the Chicago Sky for not talking to the media. There was obviously a lot of hoopla around, Caitlin getting pushed around and knocked around all game. In fact, the Sky got fined for not talking to the media after the game. They were upset. I guess Kennedy Carter was the one that pushed her down to the ground. And then goes to, was it Threads, Ante?
Yeah.
And starts talking some trash here. How about Draymond saying that the Fever should invest in an enforcer after seeing teams go after Caitlin Clark? They got to chill out, man. I mean, she's bringing so much money to the game and eyeballs, and everyone's trying to knock her down. Relax. How about Nick Van Exel? I didn't hear none of y'all crying when the glove pushed me across the court my rookie year in the preseason. It was a different time, Nick, at night. In fact, Kennedy Carter actually talked about, so she did talk to the media without talking to the media. We have the clip. Check this out.
Kennedy, on the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the Fever score.
I didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
There it is. I ain't answering any Caitlin Clark questions. What's going on, Ante? Is there a bounty out? What is this?
Yeah, I think Kennedy Carter just doesn't like Caitlin. That's just the honest truth.
Yeah.
These WNBA players are tired of hearing about her before every game that they have to play against her, every game that they have to play without her. And, Caitlin can be a little cheeky here and there, throwing a couple bows here and there.
She'll trash talk.
Yeah, she talks smack, you know what I'm saying? And they don't like it. I mean, we've seen it before in leagues. Like when LeBron first came into the NBA, he was supposed to be this huge savior, and everyone's like, this 18-year-old kid isn't about to dominate and start and do all of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They felt it as disrespectful, so they were trying to throw him around a little bit and ragdoll him in the same fashion. So it's not surprising to see Caitlin getting this treatment, but I do think, y'all need to chill just a little
chill,
bit.
bro.
Throwing her on the ground for, when she's not even looking, like doing the cheap shots and then all this other stuff. And then, like Kennedy said, like, what does she do? She just shoots the three or something like that.
Come on.
Like, what do you say? Caitlin averages more than you in every stat category.
She's better. She's a better player.
More points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals.
She's a better
more
player.
blocks. She's just better. So stop.
Here's my thing. Like, she's bringing so much positivity to the league.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. I get competitive wise. Sure, you want to go out and put her in a blender so she can get on a highlight. You crossing her up or whatever.
Yeah,
I get that, but trying to take her out is not the way. I just don't understand. And listen, like, these players get upset when you use the term jealousy.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the hell else to call it. Like, what is going on here? I would be appreciative that she's helping your pockets. She's going to get you paid.
Right.
They're starting to charter flights now. Finally, the ratings are up.
Yeah.
Ticket sales have never been higher.
Yeah.
Again, I get it if you want to go out there on a competitive standpoint and take it to her.
Yep.
To show, hey, there's other stars here.
100%.
But this stuff, running up and pushing her and these
Right.
cheap shots I'm seeing, come on, you're going to get her hurt, and then it's really going to mess up the bag for everybody. Let's talk about this.
Yep.
Would you, right now, vote for Caitlin Clark for Rookie of the Year? She's an odds-on favorite by a lot. Or would you take the field? Would you take an Angel Reese or, some of these other great rookie players that we're seeing ball at Cameron Brink? I mean, these ladies are balling. These other rookies around the league are balling out and living up to their own hype, Ante.
Yeah.
Or would you take Caitlin Clark? Because I feel like it's a foregone conclusion. Unless she gets hurt, knock on wood, I think Caitlin Clark's a Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, Travis. If you're willing to bet the field, just go ahead and call Bettors Anonymous. It's your time, man, to stop. Like, it's your time to stop because Caitlin is just so much further ahead. And I went to look at this before the show, man. CeCe's averaging 17 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game, 1 steal and 1 block, right?
Yeah.
You look at who's next on the list, who's Cameron Brink, who's a star. She's averaging 2.7 blocks per game. But everything after that, Caitlin's averaging the same amount of rebounds as her.
Yeah.
Doubling her points, tripling her assists, same amount of steals. So it's like, she has this one stat category, which is an important one. Blocks. I love my shot erasers as a guard. You know what I mean? I love my shot erasers. But, like, it's not even close. So, Caitlin's going to run away with this because when you think of Rookie of the Year, no one's really accounting wins. Let's just be honest. And her team isn't very good right now, and they're not winning. So, that's the one knock that you would have on Caitlin in this race. But, yes, vote if you're betting. I'm not a betting man myself, but if you are, please just put your money on Caitlin and get your free extra $30 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she's living up to the hype, but all these rookies are. I would agree with you that Caitlin Clark will be the Rookie of the Year, and by the way, should be the Rookie of the Year. But I think at some point there's got to be a memo or something sent out to the rest of this league, everybody except the Fever, that says, look, you guys got to – now, you can't call her out by name, obviously. But I think there should be something put out that says, you guys got to chill out just trying to take people out of here. Like, let's all just – let's relax and just play ball.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, the more I watch, it feels very Bounty-esque to me. All right, Tay, we appreciate you as always, my friend. Can't wait to go on this NBA Finals journey with you. And we'll bring Ante back for the next Hold My Banner as we always do. And I want to end it there as I tell him I can't wait to walk this NBA Finals journey with him. I can't wait to walk it with you either. I mean, we talked about this to start the show where, there's tons at stake for the winner in this finals. And we know what it is. It's the title. It's the trophy, right? Banner 18 in the Celtics case. But I'm also looking at the aspect of the loser here as well. For the Mavericks, I just don't think this Kyrie-Luka relationship is going to be long-lived anyway. So I think that's a gambling franchise that went out and got Kyrie to see if it worked. It's like throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks, and it has. But I don't think it's going to be some long-standing thing. Conversely, for the Celtics, it is going to be long-standing, and they are back in the finals. Now they must get it done, because if they don't, questions will arise. Was it all worth it? And will this team ever win it? For all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. For Ante Campbell and Travis Thomas, that's a wrap here on Hold My Banner. Till we hold it again next time, peace.